Micron reported quarterly financial results and updated investors on its most recently completed financial performance. Now, this is especially important because Micron is the first of the companies, big tech companies, to report on the results of the most recently completed 3 months. So, this is the most up to date information we have as tech investors, as AI stock investors, into the latest developments of industry trends. So, what Micron says here in the conference call I'm going to evaluate on and elaborate on is going to be telling for industry-wide implications. So really important stuff here. Let's get right into the details.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So Micron's management team said that they had an outstanding finish to fiscal year 2025, delivering fiscal Q4 revenue, gross profit margin, and earnings per share all above the higher end of their updated guidance ranges. So the company forecasted a certain amount of revenue, profit, and earnings, and they exceeded all of those expectations. And that's great news, not just for Micron stock investors, but all tech investors, because Micron sells into end markets that include the smartphone industry, the data centers optimized for artificial intelligence, and traditional data center end markets. And so if Micron is performing well and their revenue and profits are doing well, that has positive implications for the entirety of those industries. In March of 2024, Micron told investors that they expected to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of AI in the semiconductor industry. And fast forward to 2025, Micron's revenue grew nearly 50% to a record 37.4 billion, and gross profit margins expanded by 17 percentage points to 41%. And I would say that Micron is indeed one of the bigger beneficiaries of the AI in semiconductor trends, and also its stock price is up almost 100% here in 2025. So yes, indeed, it is one of the biggest beneficiaries already, and we're still in the very early innings and very early stages of the development of this technology. The management team said the combined revenue from HBM, which stands for high bandwidth memory and high capacity DIMMs, and LP server DRAM reached $10 billion, more than five-fold increase compared to the prior fiscal year. That's a more than 5x increase in this one category. So this is the category that AI stock investors are extremely bullish about, and Micron benefiting from these trends, to be sure. By the way, this document I'm reading from is Micron's most recently completed earnings call with Wall Street Analyst. I've made this highlighted document available to my channel members, and you can join for less than $5 per month. Micron saying AI-driven demand is accelerating and industry DRAM supply is tight. Our high bandwidth memory performance has been strong, and robust demand, tight supply, and disciplined execution has significantly strengthened the profitability of the rest of our DRAM portfolio. That's a mix that you love to see as an owner, as an operator, as an investor. The demand for your products and services are accelerating, meaning that the rate of increase is increasing. Not only is demand increasing, but that rate of increase is increasing, right? You love to see that. But on top of that, supply is tight. So not only are you operating in an industry seeing accelerated demand, but at the same time, supply is tight, which is rare because usually when you're operating in an industry that's booming, supply will increase, right? Same thing like on YouTube. If you see me make a video that gets a really large amount of views, others are going to see that and they're going to start to copy whatever it was that I created that made that many views, right? So supply will just increase almost, instantly in the days and weeks that follow. But with Micron, the industry DRAM supply is tight. It's not as easy to ramp up manufacturing, to ramp up supply of this technology as it is to make a video covering a certain topic that's popular with investors. So that's a great position to be in, where you have a product that's seeing accelerated demand while the supply is constrained and is unable to ramp up as quickly to match that supply, that demand increase. So the initial reaction after Micron's earnings results in the aftermarket hours yesterday when they announced their earnings results, the stock price was up about 2% following those the initial reactions. But the day after, the stock price is down by 4%. There was a few things in the earnings call that could have spooked investors. It's now down 4.2%. One of those was the management team telling investors that their capital expenditures are likely to be higher in fiscal 2026 than in 2025. So if you're wondering why the stock price is down after I just covered basically an entire video of all positive results from Micron, there were a few big things that investors were concerned about with Micron. And also the stock price had increased by so much going into earnings already. So investors were taking some profits. I mentioned it was up almost 100% already going into earnings.
Hey everyone, so many of you have been asking about my investing strategy, and I'm excited to announce that I've written a book that's available for sale now that describes my 6-step investing framework for evaluating stocks. I've added the link in the description below.